This episode was in fact a bit of a letdown on my part, in my opinion. 368 was in fact, it was good. The animation was very beautiful, but the way they led the storyline and the dialogue was a bit cheesy in my part. When reading the manga, there were some parts that I realized in the episode were a bit off. Was it the episode or was it the manga? I would say it's the manga because of course the episodes of course gets the dialogue correct in this part. But when Hashirama and Madara first threw the stones to warn each other that it was a trap, when Tobirama and Izuna met, in the manga they said yo to each other, but in this one they said they were asking each other, is that your name? Basically Tobirama, correct? Izuna, I presume. And I was wondering, they could have kept it, the way that it was translated. So I'm guessing the people who ever translate the manga in these mangas in Manga Reader and Manga Hair and all the manga websites that are free, they tend to get the translation wrong. But overall, this episode was, in fact, it was great. So we got the revelation of how Izuna died. Of course, Tobirama killed him with his technique. It was very fast and swift, and it was justified. But the dramatic outcome of Izuna's death wasn't that sad to watch than it was reading the manga. When we read the manga of Izuna's death, it was sad. It was heartbreaking to see how Izuna died, and the effect it had on Madara. But in this one, I was like, it was a bit cheesy. He died, so easily. You hardly saw any of the Uchiha in general with their Sharingan on, and it was a bit strange. And of course, Hashirama and Madara were the ones who were versing each other. And when the fathers first met, when they were fighting, it was so cruel to see that both of them went for each other's children to end this conflict. And when Hashirama and Madara stepped in, Madara's father asked, do you think we can take them 3-on-3? Madara was basically, no, he's stronger. Izuna was very surprised. And that was the part in where Madara first awakened his Sharingan. If you saw how Sasuke awakened his, there was only one strike in the Sharingan. And that brought back some memories. It reminded me of how Sasuke awakened his. He was very angry. But in this part, Madara was very upset. He wasn't upset, he was just filled with rage in the fact that, filled with rage in the fact that someone was about to harm his last living brother. And that is a very bad thing. So we move on to a large amount of fight scenes. We see fireball jutsu, water wall. We saw the first sighting of how Madara's Mangekyo Sharingan awoke him, his eternal one. But the fact that they didn't really show, I thought they would have shown him taking his brother's eyes, because if you saw all these flashbacks that Toby mentioned, the way Madara took the eyes from his brother when his brother was kneeling over him, sick and everything, that was all, it's a bit strange. It was all fake, Madara didn't take his brother's eyes because he was feeling the effects of the Mangekyo Sharingan when they both awakened it. Madara took his brother's eyes because of his death. So we move on to the part where they're both fighting, Izuna dying, and we saw the first perfect, well, not perfect Susanoo, but the perfect Susanoo in general. But if you compare it to when Madara used it against the 5 Hokages, he had a lot more chakra then, and he had the Rinnegan from Hashirama's cells. So that perfect Susanoo was a lot different from the one we saw in this episode. The one where he versed the 5 Hokages, it had 4 hands, 4 swords, and it had some extremely the armor that the Senju clan wears. That is the kind of armor that it has. And when you look at it, it's similar in this episode, but it only has 2 hands. It is the same size, but it's not as strong. And when Hashirama used his wood style statue to fight Madara, the effects of the explosion from that punch was enormous. You know, that was a Biju bomb style explosion that happened. And, you know, when it comes to the dialogue of when they're talking to each other, it sounded so cheesy. That's just in my opinion. You know, it didn't live up to the standards of it did, you know, in the manga. I was expecting more fear, more anger, more emotion into the speech of Hashirama talking to Madara, and Madara the same to Hashirama. It's just that whenever Madara is striking Hashirama, he just shouts, Hashirama! Hashirama! Over and over again. And it just seems a bit unnecessary. I don't think the animators knew what dialogue to put in or how to show the emotion on both of these characters' face. The only emotion we got to see is at the end when Hashirama was about to sacrifice himself to prove to Madara that, you know, he will take his life in order to make sure that there becomes peace between both clans. And of course Madara stops it because he sees the will that he was going to do. But overall, I would give this episode a 6 out of 10. You know, yeah, the action was good, but the dialogue was a bit cheesy. A lot of dead Uchiha and Senju, that's for sure. Just wow. That one Uchiha that was dead on the ground and his shurikens just stabbed inside of a Senju's heart. That was very, you know, it wasn't sad to see, but it just shows you how war was back then. Everyone just wanted to kill each other. Every clan, you know, and the Senju and Uchiha are finally at peace. And next week's episode, we're about to see Tobirama the racist, of course, flood his brother's head with bullshit. And we get to see the village being formed. Like how any village is first built. It starts with its background. It didn't have any wall back then, the Leaf Village. And it's going to be very beautiful to see, and I cannot wait. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching this review. I hope you liked it. I know it was a bit biased today. But a like, subscribe, it's all up to you, no pressure. And I'll see you guys next week. Or I'm doing a review on a new anime. I hope you guys like it. See you later. Too linked. What the hell? There you go. See ya.